So, hey guys, we got a this is basically a new segment in which we have an analysis of the like I don't know past battles and how it impacts the map and what we saw that was relatively interesting in the battles that we want to give some commentary on after the fact. I'm joined by Mike here. It's good.
Yeah, how's it going?
So first, let's start on the battles that didn't happen. There was Hatsukiyama versus Shimazu. Shimazu's dead, so that battle did not happen. And I'm pretty sure the moderators revoked their access to the map, right?
Yeah, I believe it was agreed that they're just going to be removed completely since they shut down.
Right.
So,
Um,
just waiting on final confirmation from Aka there.
yeah. And then we have a the Takeda versus well, wait, no. The Tokugawa versus Imagawa battle, which Tokugawa did show up for. They had around like 10 people, but Imagawa did not show up for it. I'm pretty sure they didn't want to be there. In the meeting rooms, they were kind of just like, no, I don't want to do that date. And then they never responded after that. So they just didn't show up. So Tokugawa had an auto win there, which means that they won that, what, I think it was a border battle, right?
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was an interception battle. So,
So that
but
didn't go into
so
the
yeah,
long ago.
Tokugawa doesn't gain anything from that because it was an interception. But
They get honor.
they're free to move in to the province this upcoming pre-move. So
Yeah, it's not looking good for them, considering they just lost two armies. But
yeah, well, let's see if they can hang on.
yeah. So next, so other than that, we also have the Hatsukiyama versus Soul Clan battle, where Soul Clan basically just invaded Ki, and then Hatsukiyama was defending from a castle. Um, I can't really give much commentary on this since I was actually in the battle, and I'd be biased as hell. So, Mike, what do you got to say?
I was just actually watching the video back right before we did this, but I was there for the second half of the battle. It was definitely a pretty interesting one. I definitely thought So was very ambitious in uh, trying to fight you out of your home province with a castle like that,
Yeah.
because if you guys have not seen it yet, it is quite the castle. So very ambitious strategy from So. But I mean, hey, props to them for thinking that they can do it. In the beginning of round one, Hatsukiyama definitely proved their strength in their castle defense, and So was down quite a bit, but they ended up did bring it back a little bit about halfway through round one, and but in the end, Hatsukiyama took the victory in round one, and So Clan retreated. A couple things I wanted to point out is I've actually found this very common in this week's siege battles, but the attacking clan has not really worked as a group. If
They're
you know
very
what I
spread
mean, they've
out.
more,
I think
yeah,
partly that's because when they start dying, they're dying at different intervals, and instead of rallying together, they're just filing in after that.
yeah, and that definitely did have a very large impact on So's performance, as only three, maybe four were fighting at a time
Yeah.
in the castle. So, but
Well,
they did get in a couple times,
that's
so
partly due
that's.
to the format of the castle and how long the pathway is initially to the castle. And then
Hmm.
after that, of course, it's the fact that Hatsukiyama was putting up like persistent like Yumi fire.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. In the beginning of the rounds, uh, it was very clear that you established superiority with ranged weapons. As I watched three fall within the first minute of them approaching the edge of the castle, so
Yeah.
that definitely a big advantage for Hatsukiyama in that battle.
Watching that back over again, I gotta say, one of the things that I really could have improved on is that the Minganell timing was a bit off. Like, Soul Clan charged in, and they just got past the Minganell. Like, the Minganell ball hit
Hmm.
right after that, and it was if that was pulled off correctly, it could have taken out like 4 or 5 guys.
Oh, definitely. And there were a few times where it did work in your advantage. I remember watching one specifically where you nailed a Russian cavalry member from So that so it did play its part, but
Hmm.
definitely work on the timing. I agree with that
It
completely.
could have been better, yeah. What else was something that was interesting? Other than them
Um.
filing in, the entire, I feel like there were multiple things. Like, yeah, one, like I said earlier, huge pathway to the thing, and the Yumi fire, which is killing people, and the Mangonel fire. And beyond
Oh
that,
yes.
when you're working your way up the castle, it takes a while to get up of it because it's a large castle, right? So
Hmm.
as you're making your way up it, I mean, people are dying by Yumi fire and Mangonel fire, and as they're coming up to the second tier and stuff, they're dying and they have to respawn, and instead of rallying, they're just going back.
Hmm. Yeah. So yeah, big thing as I was saying earlier, especially with that strategy implied, and that thought process, it is definitely hard to take the castle doing stuff like that. I mean, siege battles are hard enough, and then you're sitting there and you're making it harder for yourself. So
Yeah.
that's definitely something I would tell Soto to improve on.
They did take the supply route at some point during the battle.
Yeah, they did. It was taken when I got there about halfway through the round to mod the battle and spectate,
Hmm.
and but it was taken back pretty quickly
It didn't really
soon
affect
after I
much.
joined. Yeah, no, it didn't. I believe it was Alert and Bombay who kind of teamed up together and killed off the remaining SO members defending the supply routes.
Yeah, and at that point, it was the score was like real different. So, yeah. Carrying on to the next battle. Um, we have the Tokugawa battle. It was the Tokugawa versus Takeda battle. And during this battle, we have I wasn't there. I think Sol was there. And
Yes, I believe Soul was there. I did get a chance to talk to Zip though, and who is in Takeda, so
yeah,
I have a few things that I can mention about his perspective.
Sol's Sol's recording was completely lost. I think
Oh,
like
was it? Okay.
he got the beginning where like he interviewed people, but
Okay.
that's it. He didn't get much after that. So
Gotcha.
a lot of that was lost. But I hear that basically Takeda just completely overwhelmed Tokugawa. It wasn't a matter of outnumbering or even like outthinking them. They just outmatched them. Like
Hmm.
they went over to the supply route, they took it, and then they went ahead and this was the genre castle, by the way. They took the supply route, and then they went to the you know the building in the genre castle where the flag is.
Yep.
So they went
Yep.
over there and they started like jumping over it, and they lost like half their force maybe, but Takeda just kind of pushed through them, and then they used people to protect within inside of the house, and then they just took the castle, and from that point, it was basically over once you take the castle.
Oh, definitely. I Zip did mention that the castle was taken very quickly. They had someone flank around the outsides, completely unseen by Tokugawa, and took it almost immediately. So
Yeah.
that was definitely a huge game changer in the battle.
And that castle's not even. People give that castle a lot of shit because it's easily jumpable, right? But as long as you're
Hmm.
like solid in your like offense and your defense and how well you can actually like contribute to a charge, if they charge you and they try to sneak cap it, it's usually very obvious if they're trying to sneak cap it. You can just position one person there, and it's obvious. You just got to position your people back there. It's
Hmm.
really easy to do. Because it's only
It
one tier. You can't get lost. You know.
That's very true. Yeah, definitely. The clan leader or whoever is leading the battle definitely needs to step up and identify things like that, because that will make that in particular castle very easy to defend.
Yeah.
So.
In bigger castles, which are harder to like harder to siege, it's that's true. But one of the weaknesses with bigger castles is by Akka's rule set, you have to be able to scale into them. And if you have to be able to
Yeah.
scale into them, then you can quickly cap the fort. And if you cap that like fort that's insanely hard to scale into, at that point you win. So one of the things to do
Essentially, yeah.
is just protect the flag, which they completely failed to do.
Oh,
I
definitely.
feel like they were looking for heads rather than keeping the fort, and
Mm.
they lost because of that. Though
Yeah.
this brings us to the other topic that is interesting when it comes to Takeda. Takeda won with their composition, like with what are they using in their force? They use like some Suyaris, some Katakamas, and then a lot of swords. right?
Right.
They're very loose. Like they aren't in formation, which I'm sure you've seen before. Like Suyari formations are overpowered. If
Oh,
they get on one
definitely.
person, they can just
I will
one-shot
never
them.
forget that peasant battle, man.
Exactly, exactly, yeah. Um, and one, that was just another thing, and they were very loose. They focused mainly on their cav, and I think that kind of helped them because if they were loose, then people were focusing front, and then their cav just kind of swept behind and then took them out. But they could have improved on their like consistency and the what's in their force. They could have
That is
probably
very true.
had Suyares and swords, and maybe some people with katakamas. Because
Right.
Takeda's not that disciplined. I mean, they are disciplined. They did come in and they take orders really well, but they don't have composition, and they don't have
I find them, yeah, I agree with that, but I
strategy like
find them
that.
to be more of a group of individuals fighting towards a common goal, right? So,
Yeah, who listen to
definitely
someone.
a lot of, oh yeah, a lot of strong fighters in Takeda, one-on-one style. But yeah, as soon as you start breaking down those ones, and then you're left with the newer members, or some of the people that are not as strong with a blade, and then yeah, and then they can become much weaker than they start out to be. So that's definitely something that they need to watch out for in the future against some stronger clans.
So another one of the important things that we need to notice is if people know Takeda's clan and they know what members are really good, like you know how like Sunahisa reaches. I mean, not reaches
Yeah,
as in like hacking, but like he has like
yeah, he has
ridiculous.
some half decent reach. Yeah, I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
agree.
And like some other people, like Red Lord Fight, I'm pretty sure went somewhere else, but he was very good. He's just an example. I don't think he's in Takeda.
But no, I don't think
And
so.
people like Fallen as well, and then like trying to think of some other people. Who are some people who are like really, really good? Yugo,
In Takeda, Yugo, yeah, Yugo.
just in general.
Bombay's
Bombay.
really good. But yeah,
Those type of people though, if you know who to look out for, all you got to do is just grab a Yumi and then shoot them. You focus fire on that one person and you shoot them.
hmm
And then all of a sudden, that one person doesn't carry anymore, right?
yeah,
Because
take
they're out of the
yeah,
game.
taking on a major piece of the equation. Yeah,
Yeah. So that's one thing to really focus on with Takeda, because a lot of them have carries, and Takeda, I'm pretty sure, has been filtering their men so that they don't just let recruits in. They're getting to the point where they just get only good people.
hmm
But like that's something they have to watch out for because that's a really good strategy that works incredibly well if you pull it off well and you actually have the skill to use a Yumi.
Oh, 100%.
um, as for Tokugawa, they're the complete opposite. They don't have much skill, like individually.
I mean, to the best of my knowledge, I mean, I don't really pay attention to the map too much anymore, but I do believe that they are a relatively new clan.
Yeah.
As in, yeah, so chemistry might have not been there. That might have been an issue. I did hear that they actually brought quite a few, so at least their activities up there.
But activity doesn't really matter because, I mean, activity does matter, but only if your members are at least half decent.
Well, of course.
If they're all bad, then it doesn't matter. And also, it doesn't matter if you don't have infantry that know how to counter horses. Because if your infantry doesn't know how to counter horses, or if you don't have cav that counters horses, you're just going to get demolished in a charge.
hmm But just some things to work up for Tokugawa. I think if they really take the time and focus on their weaker attributes, that they could slowly crawl their way up into the rankings of some of the big boys.
So after that one, we got the big battle, right?
Yeah, the
Takeda
battle.
versus Kiramac Ginvok. This one was a pain. Like a
Yes, I
huge pain.
heard. Well, I dealt with a lot of it.
I was there for like 3 hours, like,
Holy
and the
smokes.
video is only like 30 minutes long for the actual battle. Most of that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just
I
getting
watched
into.
the video last night. Yeah, first round was interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have quite a few things to say about it, judging from what was in the video.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah. First off, again with the Takeda composition, they need to work on that. That composition isn't the best. If you have people with just swords, I will say Mini Hero versus Cav, that's so overpowered. But
can be if you use it right. Yeah.
yeah. But one of the things they keep doing is they just let their members, I think, grab whatever they want, and they don't have any formation. They're just loose. So when they
Right.
hit, when they actually do a charge, the people who are first are hitting. And normally with Kirameki that didn't matter. But if they actually went against a clan who was organized and they had a formation where it's like 5 people, right, up in the front,
Hmm.
and they're forming and they're just filing in like that, what tends to happen then is one person goes in, they get demolished by 5 people who normally have Suyaris, right? They don't even get damaged,
Right.
and then they just keep filing in.
Yeah.
And I think like that can also be used heavily. I think Takeda does use that accidentally. I'm not sure if they know they're using it normally, but when two people charge each other, right? When two clans charge each other, and their
Yeah.
forces hit, right? A lot of times what happens is horses circle back around, right? And the
Yeah.
people in that line, right, go back to like deal with the horses, right? So while this is happening, the infantry that's in front now have less people and have to deal with the infantry.
Hmm.
So if the horses keep that up and they don't die, what tends to happen is the horses just circle back around there. These people are doing nothing. Like 4 people are doing nothing. They're not contributing to the charge at all. And then the people in front who are there have a full force and they just kill them because they outnumber them. And if you outnumber by like 4 people, you're going to win that charge if it's even skill,
Right.
right? Because it's just you have 4 more people, and if they have Suyaris, you're just gonna. That's a lot of damage with just 4 people.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah.
So Takeda, with their Cav, they usually use a lot of Cav.
Oh, of
They
course.
they do circle around, and their Cav isn't dumb. Like I've seen some clans have Cav who just run straight into a spear wall, and I'm like, bruh,
Yep.
what are you doing?
Yep. Yep. Lots of experience with that
What are you
one.
doing? Right? So Takeda doesn't do that, and so they kind of just circle back there, and I'm not sure if they know they're doing this, but then they're circling people back there, and then their infantry just beats them. Their infantry catches up, and then they slam them back. And when in this Kirameki battle, Kirameki starts pushing, they push Takeda back, and I'm not sure if Takeda does this on purpose either. But then Takeda Cav like owns her. He comes back and he just starts grabbing heads.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's just
That's a
like,
big thing I've seen from definitely Takeda Cavalry is yeah, they'll especially from watching that battle, like Onzer was like doing he was more of a distraction even on the side of the castle there, and then as more Kirameki and VOC members fell, he would just kind of duck in and grab the heads as Kirameki and company retreated. So definitely a little cheeky way of doing that, but definitely works.
yeah. And Kirameki, I have a lot of experience with Vok. Like I've hired them often, right?
Right, right, right,
And I
right.
know their strengths, because Hatsukiyama and Vok mold well. We have good chemistry, which we need to if we're gonna do anything, right?
Well, of course, yeah.
Vok's one of Vok's strengths is the fact that they have really good cav, right? They have good
Hmm.
cav. Kirameki didn't really use that. I think there were like 1 or 2 Vok cav, or was there any Vok cav at all?
I know there was one. I believe it was Duck, Duck the Roaster that was on Cav. But
Yeah.
other than that, the only other person I saw on Cavalry for Kirameki and VSC was Ninga.
Yeah. I mean, Ninga is good on horse,
Oh, of course, yeah.
but they needed. I can't believe we didn't mention Ninga earlier. But yeah, Vok needed to be actually using horses because they're really good at that, and that's also one of the reasons why if you see them do sieges, they're not amazing at sieges because they use a lot of horses, and they're really good at horses, but if they try to go ahead and get a castle, then all of a sudden they can't use those horses as well, right?
Right, and they're at a they become no, I completely understand.
Um, Other than that, I want to point out because I've been praising Takeda here a lot. I want to point out one thing that they were doing that was not good. It's not good. They have a castle. What are they doing?
Yeah,
Why are they charging out of their castle and engaging Kirameki on the field? That's one of the reasons why Kirameki was so high in heads. They
oh,
shouldn't have
definitely.
been that high.
No, not at all. If that was not a siege battle, I definitely would have favored Kirameki and VOC just on the fact that on flat ground, Kirameki and VOC were working together very well in some points of the battle, so they were killing far more often
Oh yeah.
than Takeda.
And a lot of the things that happened in the Takeda battle is like some were in the castle and then a lot of others were outside of it, and so they weren't using
Yeah.
their entire force.
Yeah, so it was the others that were outside the walls that were dying too often and almost could have cost them the raid.
Yeah.
So
Um, Again, one of the things that I like always say when you have a castle is don't go outside of it. You have a castle for a reason. Like
yeah,
it's overpowered.
why throw away such an advantage?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Takeda does do that a lot, and I think it's partly because they have such good cav, and they don't want to
Hmm.
not use that. But I think they just gotta like actually realize that castles are overpowered.
Oh, of course. I mean, and it's not like you need to take cavalry out of the equation either. It's just having that patience for it,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
if they make a search for the supplier, well then yeah, like mount up, right? But other than that, if they're not getting anywhere, what's the point of using a horse to go fight people in the field when you're at risk of losing it?
Here's one thing that I saw during the battle, and I was just like, oh, Takeda, what are you doing? Right? Here's what happened. Kirameki and Vok, they went ahead and went to the supply room, like every single one of them, right?
Right.
As soon as I saw this, my first thought was Takeda, stab them. Like it's
Mm,
it's open. It's right there. The supply route takes 50 supplies a minute, right? Send two
yeah.
sabs on horses to their spawn.
Oh,
They're
and you can
taking
take
like
far more than 50 in 10
600.
seconds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you can just come back, and then not only that, you're gaining supplies because you're sabbing. So making your entire force go to the supply route is almost always a bad idea, unless you
Mhm.
are like thinking that the force inside of the castle isn't going to be smart enough to do that and go stab you, which is a gamble, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What other thing? Takeda wasn't using that many Yumis. They could have been using Yumis a lot more to their
Oh, they
advantage.
definitely. Yeah. Just watching the video back. I didn't count a lot. At the start, they had a small handful, but as the round progressed, they used less and less.
Probably because they were rushing out and they were just losing supplies.
Yeah.
But if they stayed inside that castle, they could have just demolished them. I mean, they had so many members. They had like, what, I think 20? If every single one of them grabbed a bow, that
Oh,
would have been devastating.
yeah. Expensive, but devastating.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. And I think, how many supplies was it? 7k? And how many supplies did
Yeah,
Takeda have at
7.
the end?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because normally when I do sieges, as you can see in like my video, right, the
Hmm.
battle, I had like 3,000 supplies and SoClan had like 300.
Well, yeah, you were sitting at 4,200 while they were at 1,400 at one point.
Yeah,
So,
and then they took the supply route and they started taking some. But and also I think some of my members were dying who had like Yumis on them, and so that took a lot of
right,
supplies as
right.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
But that is one of the huge strengths, because if you do that and you don't grab as many horses and you have a lot of supplies and you have a supply route that's hard to get to, and that you can just kind of like another thing you can do with supply routes is you can just shoot. If you have a lot of people back there with a lot of Yumis,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how many
yeah.
times they meat shield. If you have like 5 Yumis back there, that's it.
Hmm.
Like they can't do anything. But if you do that to a supply route, they're going to be devastated. And then you can grab Yumi's, and then that's it. And beyond this, Takeda had 2 tiers. Now, normally, in the castles I have, they have more tiers than 2 tiers, so I don't use this strategy, but Takeda could have used this. When people die, you can grab supplies off their bodies. You know that.
Yep.
Takeda could have used that as well, because they only have 2 tiers. They could have easily just gone up to the 2nd tier and just returned their supplies.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, I think that would have drawn more people out of the castle. So, but at the same time, people will come back in. So, definitely could have worked either way.
I mean, only if like Kurameki's coming in and they die inside of the castle.
Yeah, and from what I saw, not a lot made it into the castle.
No, I
So.
mean some did, but that mangonel at the bridge was pretty good. Though it did
Yes.
kill some of the Takeda's members at the same time, which happened in my
Yeah, I
battle as
saw.
well. Killing your own members with mangonel, that happens.
I mean, if they're in the wrong position, they're in the wrong position, right?
Yeah.
That should definitely be communicated in voice call that they're about to rain down some Hail Marys and you should get out of the way. So.
So with this battle, after that first round, some people exploited.
Yes.
Nothing showed up in
Yes.
the
This
logs.
is.
People started dying. Kirameki was blaming Takeda. Takeda was blaming Kirameki.
Of course.
It's a huge mess, right?
Yeah.
And then I think that happened, and we were like, all right. Let's just try to start the round. And then I think Takeda's weapons broke. They couldn't grab swords, which they do use a lot of swords, as I mentioned earlier.
Right.
So they couldn't do that, and so we had to restart the server. And then people started dying again, and then the swords broke again, so we had to restart the server again. And then the swords started
Jeez.
working, but then the heads broke.
Holy smokes.
So
What a
and then we had to
process.
restart the server like I don't know, 4th time. And then my power went out, and Orange got the rest of it. But
Yeah, I think I was in call with you guys for like a solid
yeah
10 minutes. And yeah, I heard your power go out.
Yeah, I was like, Jesus Christ.
And then left, yeah.
But that
I mean,
round's
yeah.
being, I think, made up tomorrow?
Yeah, second round is being redone tomorrow. I believe they agreed on the time. Let me check. I think it was 7. Yeah, 7.
One other thing. I don't think we're gonna have many battles. Where are pre-moves? It's 8-12.
Yeah, that's. I mean, looking at mod chat, Geoff is claiming that Akko is supposed to do them, but as I'm sure everybody in this genre knows, she's been on a dry spell for 2 weeks and
Yeah.
completely unheard of until yesterday. So we'll see how that goes.
If we don't get pre-moves by midnight, we're gonna be in trouble.
Well, at that point, it's just better to postpone the pre-moves for a week.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be ridiculous. I can't. I feel like the genre needs another map moderator because Sid, I don't think he knows how to do it yet. I don't think Jeff has taught him how, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's from what I've heard, he does them here and there, but then again, I really can't vouch for it because I don't talk to him.
I sent my my moves to Sid once, and then it did not go through. I had to send it back to Jeff. I had to be like,
nice.
Hey, I sent this to Sid, but he didn't.
Alright, well,
he didn't do it.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Should be a bit of an interesting week, judging from what's on the map.
Oh yeah.
And what possibilities could open up.
A lot could happen.
Yep.
But
so yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see though.
We will have to wait and see. Maybe until next week. Ugh, that's just insane. I can't. Like normally, how I judge it is, it's really good if pre-moves come out like Tuesday morning, and you're like, damn, that's impressive.
Oh, that's when pre-moves are the best.
They're supposed to come out like Tuesday. I kind of get annoyed if they come out Wednesday, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting annoyed, but like I'm okay with it.
Yeah, the fact that it's Thursday at 8:15 right now and nothing.
If it's Thursday, we're having a problem.
Yeah, it's dropping the ball a bit there.
And it hasn't been Friday for a while. Like there hasn't been a moment where pre-moves haven't come out by Friday in like how long?
A very long time.
A really long time. So I don't even. We're gonna have to figure this out.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of stuff is happening. It could be very interesting.
Yep.
So stay tuned for all of that. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe.
For those FJ news updates.
Yeah, subscribe for the FJ. Click the bell.
Join the notification squad.
Exactly.
All right, awesome.
It's good. It's good. All right. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you, I guess, I don't know, around 2 days. That's when it should be uploaded, around then.
Cool.
Cool. All right.